I hope you've taken your Dramamine, because this one's gonna be a doozy. Oh no. Hi, my name is Grace Helbig. If you did not know now, you know your life is different now. Yesterday, I went on my Instagram story, my IG story, and I asked you guys for some video ideas, and a bunch of you wanted to hear my thoughts on Love is Blind. How nice. I have so many thoughts, and today we're sharing them. If you don't know, Love is Blind is a show on Netflix that I was hesitant to get into, and then like all reality television programming, as soon as I dip my toe in the water, some sort of giant shark creature grabs it by the ragged toenail and drags me all the way in. And somehow I'm me dipping my toe, and I'm also the shark creature pulling myself in. Every time it happens. For those that haven't watched yet, congratulations on that freedom. Love is Blind is a dating reality show on Netflix. It poses this scientific question experiment. I know, Goose. I use science loosely. Can you fall in love with someone based solely on an emotional connection without physically seeing or interacting with that person? It's hosted by two of America's most prominent scientists, Nick and Vanessa Lachey. They take a group of guys, a group of girls, they put them in these pod situations. They are exposed to nothing else but each other's voices. And then they decide if they've created a strong enough connection to get engaged. The obvious next step. They get engaged, they get to see each other, and then after they see each other, they go on a honeymoon, and then they live together, and then after like 2 months, they have a wedding, and at the altar, both individually decide if they want to marry each other. Romance is one thing, but when you take science and you put it into that romance, you're gonna get a reaction. And I watched every second of it. And now here are my thoughts about all of the main players in this game, experiment. Look, I've been writing all of my thoughts and down on paper, like I'm doing an actual science fair project. I know I'll have so many more thoughts after I shoot this video. I know that there's a reunion happening, so I wanted to put this out before I see the reunion. I have to preface this with saying, no offense to any of them. Kudos to them for putting themselves out on a reality program like this, of this nature, and having to endure all of just the shit that comes with putting yourself out there in any capacity, let alone in a dating capacity under the microscope of the rest of society. Because the rest of society, we're all perfect. So them, they're not. This is our chance to really project our own insecurities onto all these people that are genuinely putting themselves out there in the hope of love. Where do I begin? I have so many notes. Let's start with Amber. Amber, wow, she is a lot in a lot. You know, like those little wind-up dog toys that they have in the front of toy stores that just like run in place and then backflip and then run in place and then backflip and then run in place and backflip. I feel like that's her in every one of her talking head interviews. Her facial expressions blow my mind. She's like those theater masks that are happy and sad, but like in one face, happening all the time at the same time. It's like her mouth and her eyes move independently of each other, and they're creating every spectrum of emotional range all at the same time. She has a strong personality. I think she's also very strong physically. She set her eyes on Barnett, and she claimed him. Like, if they were allowed to be in the same pod, I feel like she would have pissed all over him. I was fascinated watching this woman. She also has a very curious way of claiming someone that she loves by basically saying over and over again that she will cause them some sort of physical harm if they ever even think about leaving her. She was like, I love you so much. If you leave me, I will physically harm you. I've done it before. I know this sounds like a cute metaphor, but it's like very real. You're my best friend. At first I thought she might be a little bonkers, and I didn't totally trust that she was on a show like this for the right reasons, like every single person that's on a show like this. Then I started to believe in how much she believed in her love for Barnett. I'm a wildly indecisive person, so I envy your ability to make aggressive decisions and to chase goals with such aggression. But she did get into a situation with Barnett where she wanted to make sure that if his family had differing opinions than she did on situations, including like their relationship, that she wanted Barnett to take her side and not his family's side, because in her mind, blood is not always thicker than water. And I would just like to challenge a little bit of the practical science behind that. Also, I don't want to offend her in any way, shape, or form because I like my nose. and I need it. Let's talk about Barnett. Barnett is like every guy I went to high school with smashed into one person. Like he's for sure non-ironically worn double pop collars in his life at some point. He's like if someone tailgated the opening of an Abercrombie & Fitch at the mall. But then sometimes he has these like sensitive moments and he cries about his actions and his inability to treat women with respect. It's like this weird Freaky Friday where he's like a feminist trapped in like this kind of toxic masculinity body. And that's fun to watch. It's fun to watch inner turmoil. Is he the real life version of the movie What Women Want? I never saw that movie. And then it's fascinating to watch him when he realizes that he's committed himself to marry a woman who slays. Literally, she may have slain a human in her past. We don't know. He also must have grown up playing football because he plays a strong defense against Jessica the whole season. I am fascinated to see if they ended up staying together because also I found out that this show actually filmed back in like 2018. The reunion's gonna bring a lot of shit to light. Moving on, Kelly and Kenny. Kelly and Kenny are a little boring. I think boring only because they're slightly more normal. They're like watching two choir kids date each other. They're like two kids that got cast as the leads in the spring musical and they're like actually starting to date off stage. And all of the stagehands are just like fascinated and jealous of their love. They're also just like two Cuban politically correct blobs that just kind of hang out with each other. There's not a lot of drama there other than the fact that Kelly just slowly over the course of the season reveals that she's not actually attracted to Kenny. But everyone around them, like their family, their friends, are just like good and non-problematic. It's like if like, Pottery Barn was a group of humans. Also, sorry for spoilers. I'm not sorry. The show's been out. You've had time. Do your thing. And at the end, when she tells Kenny that she can't marry him, it's like I could feel the collective quaking of the rest of the cast of Jesus Christ Superstar. Opening night is in 2 weeks. How are they gonna do this? Jesus can't sexually satisfy Mary Magdalene. What are they gonna do? And the understudies are backstage like, all I can say is there's gonna be drama at that cast party this year. When she said no and then walked down the aisle with her sister, just like proud and awkward, it was all just so confusing. I felt bad for Kenny. Kenny didn't see it coming. Literally. South Park and Love is Blind. Kenny's can't catch a break. Let's talk about Giannina and Damian. Whew. First of all, Giannina only speaks in riddles. She only speaks in riddles. Rewatch it. Tell me I'm wrong. I loved every second of it. The way that they communicate with each other is like watching two actors in like a very amateur scene study class perform. They think that they're doing like Oscar-worthy performances. It's just so much. Not only does Giannina talk in riddles, she also talks like she's solving a murder mystery. So you liked me in the pods based on my voice. We get out of the pods and we move in together and we start to get a physical connection with each other. But then all of a sudden, you don't like me anymore. And I'm left here by myself in the kitchen with the knife. I love it. I think it's so fun and so interesting. Also, I hope Giannina never gets a dog because she can't even keep her butterflies. But when you pair her with Damian, oh, it's just such a fascinating thing to watch because he looks like an IT guy, but he talks like a Shakespearean actor in the middle of being poisoned. Everything is this emotionally aggressive thing that he can barely get out through his lips and he's trying to choke it back down his throat. It's like he's got a telltale heart beating in his head all day, every day long. Especially when he was at the altar and he ended up telling Giannina that he couldn't marry her. Him trying to get out the no was just so much face. The emotional angst and trauma that was just surging through his face made him look like someone was forcing him to watch like Two Girls, One Cup without throwing up. Those editors probably were just like, oh, this is gold. But then Giannina got both fairy tale fantasies at the end. She got to say these like kind of poetically weird vows to Damian, and then he broke her heart and she got to play Runaway Bride. And girl's got some gams. She ran in heels in the mud, she slipped. It was so, oh gosh. It's like I could see Candace Cameron Bure playing Giannina in the Lifetime movie version based on this show. And then she got to tie it up like a perfect one-act play by ripping off the bottom of her dress and tying it back on his hand the way he tied that weird-ass bow and told her that he was her gift. It's all very confusing. Their metaphors and their riddles, they create these verbal escape rooms that I get stuck in. I don't know how to get out of them, and I Love it. Okay, we have to move on to Jessica and Mark, the ones that I probably have the most to say about. Jessica is on everyone's radar in this show. I know, she is so interesting to watch. She's got big, every single contestant that's ever been on The Bachelor in the history of The Bachelor smashed together energy. And I'm sure she hates watching herself on this show and hates the way that she comes across on this show, which is why I feel for her for like putting herself out there. But she also has all of these like contradictory feelings about what she's doing on the show. You can tell that she's trying to preemptively like circumvent and navigate the way they're gonna edit her. Ooh, the tension of her trying to be likable but also trying to be honest is fascinating. She didn't do herself very many favors because she knew she was leading this guy on in the beginning and she was trying to get there, I guess, but it's just so obvious. And I know when you're in it, it's so different than when you're watching it. It's like a mucky little swamp that I don't mind like just wading around in. It's gross. She's the kind of girl that'll be like, I'm a vegetarian, I don't like animal cruelty, and then someone says like, you know, Brad Pitt's favorite food is chicken fingers, and you cut back to her and she's like on a farm snapping chicken necks. She's very motivated by what people think. She'd have like a pickleback shot and then you'd be like 2 + 2 = 4, and she'd be like, how can you even say that? You can't call 2s 2s. What if they want to be 1s? And that's not how it works. No, 2 + 2 = 4. That's so rude. Oh my, how dare you? Can my dog get another glass of Pinot? I feel like she caught herself being honest sometimes and had to backtrack. She'd be like, the thought of sleeping with someone that's 10 years younger than me that I'm not at all physically attracted to is like a question that some people will probably have to confront in this experiment. Not me though, because I'm here to find real love. Like Mark, he checks all of the boxes except the one at the top because he's just too short and he can't reach it. Oh. I feel like a lot of what she was saying was like, yes, he is emotionally very intelligent. Yes, he is very psychologically mature. And yes, every time I look at him, he reminds me of the youth that I once have that is slipping away out of my control, and thus I hate him directly for it, even though it's not his fault in any capacity, but I do project my insecurities onto him directly because I don't want to, and he's got roommates, so like, ugh. It's kind of a deal breaker. We'll see, you know, is Barnett doing his talking head after me? Like, is he here? Is it? I thought I smelled, I'll just wait. It's easy to hate on her, but she put herself into this situation, and this situation is so f***ing bizarre. I'm curious to see what sort of humble pie she'll be eating at the reunion because it's very trendy to own your mistakes. Then we have Mark. God bless Mark. He was 10 years younger than well, he's still 10 years younger than Jessica, and oh, he seemed like a sweet guy that thought he caught himself a babe and didn't want to throw her back by any means, and you can't fault him for wanting that. He was blinded by his own infatuation with a hot blonde, and he couldn't see that she made falling in love with her like this weird fraternity hazing. So did you and Jessica get intimate last night? Oh yeah, it was, oh man, we stayed up like so late, like getting to know each other, just talking. Like she really wanted to get to know me. Like she took my phone and like looked through all my social media and then like asked me for my tax returns from the last 2 years, and then actually took a urine sample and then had me like chug a whole bottle of Jägermeister and do like 100 push-ups while she like repeatedly had me say like, I'm a little bitch boy. It was cool because the whole time I had a bag on my head, so it was like the pods. And then we both just like got tired, so I had to sleep naked on the couch, and she had to sleep in the bed. And like I definitely heard her masturbating at Barnett's Instagram, but like, you know, that anything can happen in the pods. So my mom likes her. You get, so we're playing, we're goofing. I feel for Mark. I think he's gonna come out on top. I think there's gonna be a lot of women that saw him on the show that are very attracted to him. He won't have any shortage of a pussy. And then you have Lauren and Cameron. They're great. I can't wait to see if they've stayed together. I hope so. I will say about Lauren, I've never seen someone emulate this face emoji almost the entire time. I loved it. Okay, I could probably talk for 2 more hours about all of this, but those are just my thoughts on the people from Love is Blind. I like the show very much. I hope it comes back for another season. I'm curious to see how people play with the experiment. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of it if you watched it. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't. I make videos. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. Oh my god, I forgot. I love Mark. Oh, you think we're the Priyanka and Nick? Oh my god, don't even stop saying that ever. Only say that to me forever, please. I did say that I love when an older woman loves a younger guy. I did say that, didn't I? I said that, and you believe that too, and that means I believe it too. Things are going well. I'm sorry if I offended anyone.